Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. That's right, the train stops here. It is Friday night after all. No late trains tonight, Super Kev. Joining me tonight is my podcast brother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell. Welcome back to the show.
How you doing, Sophie? You okay?
Listen, it's Friday. There's no football this weekend, but I'm going to find a way to cope somehow in the Southern California sunshine. Joining us is one of my favorite journalists. I've known Ben for many, many years. We started talking about football back in the Live World Football Daily days. He used to be a journalist and correspondent for Goal. He's now the Spain correspondent for the London Evening Standard, and he is one of the best Spanish football experts out there. Welcome to the Highbury Squad, Mr. Ben Hayward.
Hi, so hi, Kev. How are you guys doing? Quite the intro, I must say. Thank you very much.
Listen, this is how we roll at the Highbury Squad. We know you're a Spurs fan, but we are not going to hold that against you at all. He's actually, Kev, he's probably one of the nicest Spurs fans you'll meet.
Well, I know a couple. Of nice Spurs. Believe it or not, I know a couple. But do you know what, Ben? We ain't talking Spurs tonight. It's all about the Gunners.
It is. Yeah. Like, let's get stuck into this because Ben's been following Thomas for a few years. And before we start getting into what's going on right now and the transfer, of course, and what he can offer Arsenal, I'd like to just start a little bit further back, as we did when we were talking about Gabriel, Kev. So 27 years young. They say he's 6'1". He seems a bit taller than that to me. Wears the 18 shirt. He's got 27 caps for his country, Ghana. He's been the Ghanaian Player of the Year 2018 and 2019. Ben can correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me, on that one. He's a Europa League winner and a UEFA Champions League runner-up. Comes with a lot of pedigree. Probably learned a lot playing under Simeone, but Ben's going to let us know that. Ben, talk us through Thomas's journey from Ghana to Atletico. Let's start there.
Well, yeah, it's been a slow and long journey, for Thomas to get to where he is now. Obviously, he's 27 years old, but it's taken a while for him to become established, as he did at Atletico. He came through the youth system at Atletico. His family came over when he was quite young, and he went out a couple of times on loan to Mallorca, to Almeria, played in the second division, then played in La Liga. But it seemed to take a long time for him to really convince Diego Simeone that he was worth a place in that team. And really, it wasn't until maybe Gabby left the club in 2018 when he really became, an undisputed starter. But he's really matured, as a first-team player for Atletico over the years. But like I say, it took a while, as it often does with Simeone, to win his trust. He's really become a complete player, in my opinion.
There's a lot of talk of those two loan seasons in terms of why he didn't make that midfield. And obviously you had some quality players at the time, but there was a lot of argument at the time that he should have been eased into those squads and maybe could have made a bigger difference, especially in Europe. What was it that Simeone didn't quite... Because we see players go out on loan all the time. It's not a case of him not thinking he doesn't have the talent, of course. But were there particular parts of his game that you know of, Ben, that Simeone really wanted him to work on? And that's why he was sent out on loan?
I think so. I mean, first of all, Simeone is an incredibly fussy coach. Simeone is a guy who will drop a player from the team, often for several matches, just because he doesn't like the way a player controls the ball in the middle of the park. He's very, very strict with even down to the finest details. And I think with Thomas, perhaps concentration has been an issue over the years. Concentration and discipline, perhaps. That's something that he's improved upon greatly in the last sort of 2, 3, 4 seasons in particular. So perhaps when he was younger, that was a bigger issue than it is now. And of course, Atletico Madrid were winning La Liga in 2013-14.
Yes.
They got to 2 Champions League finals. I mean, they had a very strong midfield as it was. So, I think that's part of it as well.
In that Champions League final, was it the 23rd? He came on in extra time, didn't he? Just before there was one of the finals where he didn't play the whole game. He came on in extra time, so he got a little bit of a taste of that. You're right, obviously winning La Liga. Why change something why try to morph a player into something that is working so brilliantly? But you talk about Simeone being a stickler, and it seems like Arteta is a stickler, doesn't it, Casey? And you've played for someone like George Graham, who's very unforgiving, and tough managers in your career as well. Is he prepared for someone like Arteta, having been managed for 5 seasons now under someone like Simeone, who's probably one of, as Ben said, the most demanding and unforgiving managers in Europe?
I think it's a perfect fit, because all of the rough edges, all of the non-trust and the non-concentration parts, the lapses, have been taken out of Thomas Partey's game by Simeone. Now, what Arteta knows he needs somebody in there who can do the job with discipline, who can perform straight away, and also can get in there and transition seamlessly, because we haven't got time for players especially in the middle of the park, to take their time to settle. We haven't got time for that. And Thomas Partey is that guy who Arteta knows he needs in that team to get that engine room going. He really does. And you know what? Thomas Partey is underrated. He is really underrated, because, Sophie, we looked at the way Aubameyang gets sprung by the defenders. David Luiz hits long balls for him, and Kieran Tierney hits a long ball for Aubameyang coming off that left-hand side. Well, let me tell you something. Thomas Partey's long-range passing is excellent. He has got that creative ability in his game, which a lot of people just think he's a stopper. And no, he's not. He can go box to box. He's got, I'll leave it to Ben. Ben, sorry, okay. I don't want to step.
Well, no, because you covered La Liga last season too. So yeah, Ben, because there's been this argument of, he's box to box. He's just there to kind of be, the great wall of Thomas Partey and the stopper. Yeah. But let's get stuck into that then, because I think what Arsenal fans really want to hear are his attributes, and it's not just let's check on FIFA what his attributes are, but what is he really going to bring to our team, and he offers a lot more than just being security. Did we lose Ben?
Was not in agreement. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You're just freezing. Yeah.
When Kevin was speaking. It's very much, we see him probably in a position for Atletico, winning, but he's, carrying the ball, but he's fantastic. But he has so much in his game, like as Kevin was saying, he's not just about interceptions. Obviously he's got tremendous strength, really good at shielding the ball. Dribbling. Also, as Kevin mentioned, the passing is fantastic. So those, quick passes that he can zip into the forwards and maybe play over the top to the wide players as well, I think will be an important part of his game at Arsenal. I think it's probably partly why Arteta, has identified him. I think he can do a bit of everything, I'll be honest. And I think what's exciting also is that, we've seen him at Atletico, not the most attacking,
adventurous,
defense first, very much so at Atletico. So I think we can see we'll see a new dimension as well to Thomas's game at Arsenal. I'm sure we will.
A lot of people talk about that because there are some creative players. I mean, some people are saying, you know, Felix is a shadow of the player he was since going to Atleti, and we've seen other creative players maybe be suffocated under the Simeone way of playing football. But also, I think everybody was expecting Arteta to come in, right, Kev, and be, you know, all guns blazing like Pep. But what I think we've grown to admire very quickly about Arteta is that he's not willing to put square pegs in round holes. He's playing to the strengths of the team and the players that he has versus trying to force the players to play the way he wants. Adaptability wise, Ben, with regards to the style of Diego Simeone, the personality, is Thomas the kind of player who he soaks information in, he listens, do you think that part of him, because it's just as important in terms of how he digests information off the pitch as he does play on the pitch? What was the relationship like and with regards to him and Diego?
Yeah, the relationship was very good, but Simeone can be very, very difficult. You know, as we mentioned earlier, he's very, very demanding, and passionate. We see how he is on the sidelines, and sometimes he does get upset by just the smallest details that most of us often wouldn't notice. But the relationship was good, and I think the position, of course, that Simeone.
We're having. Hey Ben, can you just try and kind of maybe duck in and duck out, because you're cutting up and you're saying a lot of good things that unfortunately we need to have. So maybe just try and
jump out and jump out
and jump back in.
He made some really good points there.
I know, he was making so many really good points because also, and there's a lot of questions coming in, and we'll ask them, guys, with regards to, you know, the creative players at Atleti and stuff like that, and how maybe he integrated with them. And obviously, Casey, one of the biggest things for Arsenal fans is how he's going to pair up, right? So the obvious choice in this instance, depending on the formation that Arteta is going to want to play, would clearly be someone like Ceballos maybe taking on, you know, that role. Xhaka being more of the enforcer, and also Partey, like you said, and like Ben was saying, you know, being that box to box. Dare I say, and you can educate me though, that Steven Gerrard type. Is he that box to box, or
no? Because Steven Gerrard was box to box, but he was more attacking, whereas Vieira was more sit in the midfield and then I break from there. When it opens up, I break. Great to have Ben back.
Yeah, hey Ben, I think we got you back. You good?
I don't know. The connection sounds like it's a bit ropey, but I don't know how it sounds your end.
We can hear you just fine right now. There's a bit of a delay, so that's okay. As long as we have you back, that works for us. So let's talk about how he integrated in terms of his role and the system that Atleti play versus what potentially he'll be able to do in a Mikel Arteta formation at Arsenal. In particular, a lot of the guys in the chat are wanting to know how he blends with the more creative player, which essentially we don't have, but Kevin and I think we do have in someone like a Ceballos maybe, and even like a Willian and a Saka being able to be interchangeable in that number 10 role.
This is sticky.
Damn, is he in Ghana
sticky.
or Spain? You'd think
Sticky.
that the he's in Madrid. Maybe Simeone has absolutely destroyed all internet connections.
Simeone's not having it. He's not having it. He doesn't want it.
He's so upset about us, you know, nabbing Thomas at the very end there, not giving him time to prepare for the season.
Yeah.
I think Ben's going to try. Hey, there he is. All right, switch to mobile. So did you hear what?
That's better, guys. Sorry.
Okay, that's so much better. Whatever you're doing, don't move. So what I was saying is a lot of the guys in the chat would love to know how Thomas integrated with the creative players in midfield, and how we might be able to see him in Arteta's formation, especially as we don't have that obvious creative midfielder, but we do have like a Ceballos who can play that role, and even Willian and Saka being interchangeable in that number 10. Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I think he can play in various different roles. I think obviously Atletico mostly play 4-4-2, but they have played 4-3-3 on occasions, and you know, Thomas is usually the one sitting deep, but I think you know, you could play him further forward, and you know, behind the attackers, and I think. In particular, I'd really like to see him alongside Ceballos. I think that's a mouth-watering partnership potentially. And Ceballos, when he was at Real Madrid, also played deep on occasions as well. So you could possibly interchange the two of them. But I think Thomas is adaptable. I think he's flexible. I think we'll probably see him starting off in a deeper role. But you know. I imagine him getting further forward a lot more than he did during his time at Atletico. And, you know, he's got a powerful shot. He can set up the attackers, as we've mentioned. But I think he's probably flexible, compatible, should I say, with any of the midfielders at Arsenal, really. I don't know what... I saw Kevin on a video the other day talking about compatibility with the other midfielders at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd really like to see him alongside Ceballos, but I think, you know, any of the combinations will probably work out just fine.
Ben, you know, the question actually is, can the others be compatible with Thomas? Because one thing we do know about him, he's got incredible energy. He's got incredible nose for the ball. He wins the ball back so many times. He's a great reader of the ball in midfield. So, you know, Atleti tend to hunt in packs, and they played mostly 4-4-2. So it was just him and another player, and at times they were outnumbered, and he was still winning the ball back. So can a Xhaka get around the pitch like he is? Because he might press the ball and the ball gets popped by him, and that's for the next guy to win. Can Xhaka do that? Can Ceballos do that? You know, it's for the others to fit around this guy, because this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think he'd start in any team in the Premier League, honestly. You know, and I think his attributes make him even more suited to the Premier League than to La Liga, to be quite honest. So, yeah, it's very, very exciting signing.
It seems like he's got the right discipline on the pitch. And there's a great question from the Gunners here in chat. And he's asking what's Thomas's discipline like? Obviously, a lot of fans, they watch him in Champions League. They don't watch him in La Liga week in, week out. Does he have a tendency to get a lot of yellow or red cards, Ben? Is he stable?
Yeah, no, he does get yellow cards, but I don't remember many red cards over the years, I'll be honest. He's obviously very very strong and physical player, but I wouldn't call him indisciplined at all. I know there have been question marks here and there with his discipline, but I think again that's something that's improved over the years, and something that can be an issue for Atletico in general. just because of the way they play. I mean, Simeone's phrase about playing with a knife between your teeth. That kind of sums up Simeone's philosophy, doesn't it?
It's scary.
In general, I don't see it.
Yeah. KC, I think one of the things that we're excited about is, the fact that, we've said it ad nauseum really on our show, is that, Thomas presents a position that we've really, really lacked. And nobody's saying that he's going to come in and perform miracles. Are we putting too much pressure? He is 27. He's played at the top level. He's played on the big stage.
Champions League final. He's done the Liga. Listen, let me tell you something. Let's not talk him down, Sophie. Let's not talk him down. We've signed a real one here. We have signed a real one, and the real ones come in and start performing straight away. They don't mess around. They get in there and they start performing. He knows what the midfield is. He's played in a Simeone 4-4-2, 4-3-3 formation. He's been outnumbered. He knows how to get about the pitch. He knows the game inside out. He knows how to play. He is just what we've been missing for a decade. This guy.
Ben, what is it you've been the most impressed with him? You've watched him now for 5 seasons. When he was on loan, and he played in, I think you said it was the first or second division. I couldn't remember if that was for Mallorca. But when he was out on loan and stuff too, tell us why he's been, because you said to me when we were talking about you coming on the show that you really like him. Why? Why do you really like him, kind of having seen so many footballers come and go in La Liga over the years?
Yeah, I think, Sophie, that if you go back to his loan spells, they were quite a few years ago. And, he is 27 now. But if you look back to when he was out on loan, he was probably only around 20, 21 at that time. And it was probably ideal for his development because, like I said, Atletico were a team that were winning La Liga. They were getting to Champions League finals, winning the Copa del Rey with a really established midfield. And so it probably helped his development. And even when he came back, like you mentioned, he played in that Champions League final. He came on very late in extra time in Milan when they lost on penalties. And yeah, he was integrated quite slowly into the team, but gradually impressed more and more and more. And I think I've seen some reports over the last couple of days saying that actually Arsenal originally was setting their sights on getting somebody a bit younger. But, they're getting a 27-year-old who, as Kevin mentioned, is the finished article. So, I think it's ideal. He's had this progression. He's come through difficult moments. People talk about adapting to the Premier League, but in this case, I think his attributes, his skill set already means that he's probably ideal. If you look at those 2 games against Liverpool in the Champions League, it was fantastic in those games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there are any concerns about the going back to the loan spells. I just think it's an important.
I think it's really, you bring up those 2 games and KC. I mean, he was dominant. Wasn't he? And I think when you see that, there are some Manchester United fans that are a little bit sour about us getting Partey because for a while they were linked to him too. And you could argue that, he'd be better than any midfielder right now in Man United side. No apologies there. When you kind of look at Partey and you did your little bit on the show the other day, but for those that haven't listened to Kev Says yet, you were very particular about who you think that he fits best and what our formation would look like. Can you just let everyone know that wasn't able to kind of see that, what you think is going to be the best way for us to set up?
Yeah, look, again, it all depends really on how Mikel Arteta wants to play, because now that he's got the cornerstone of that midfield, he might want to play Thomas Partey sitting and 2 in front of him. So you could play Ceballos and Willian, or you could play Ceballos and Xhaka in front of him. He's the screen for the back four, etc. I can see him playing with Granit Xhaka beside him and Ceballos in front, because I think Ceballos has that creativity when he plays further forward. I know he can do the deeper role, but I think sometimes it's a bit too deep, because the defense could it's too far for the defense to see him probe. So if he's a lot closer, one pass could kill the defense, whereas when he's deep, they can see it coming. So that's really what I see. Listen, it might even work out that Willock, Tom Partey and Ceballos, and then Willock, because Willock is a willing runner. And you do need somebody from the midfield who's going to run in beyond the strikers. You do need that. Now, Partey can do that, but I think Partey is going to be needed to shore that midfield up. We know he's got the energy to do it. He's, as I said, he's the finished article. But there's just a few of the permutations for the midfield that we can have. Him and Ceballos in there, for me, is a great midfield, because they've both got good energy, both good on the ball. And if Ceballos goes, Partey could hold a fort. And if Partey goes, Ceballos could hold a fort. Maybe Xhaka might struggle a little bit getting around the pitch. Because what happens with Xhaka is if he goes forward, it takes him an age to get back. That's the difficult thing. Yeah.
It's so funny how we've all kind of fallen in love with Ceballos, but he's not our player. And, you know, we're borrowing him. We're paying to borrow him, of course. But it's kind of cool to think that we've, you know, like you said yesterday, you think we've stolen Partey from Atlético Madrid. And we have Ceballos, who obviously is a Real Madrid player. I'm not sure if we have Ben or not. Ben, are you there? Because you look like you have frozen in time. I think we've lost Ben, and unfortunately, the connection to Ben isn't that great. So we can carry on here though, Casey, because you did watch a lot of La Liga last year. You were covering it for various media outlets. When you kind of watch those games with the Barcelonas, the Villarreals, the Sevillas, the Atletico Madrids, and you saw Thomas, when you've long admired him, at that point when you were covering the game, were you earmarking him and saying, my goodness, this guy at Arsenal? Talk me through that a little bit as you were covering last year.
That's a really good point, Sophie, because, you know, when you cover La Liga, I'm always looking at players. Which player could fit into Arsenal? You know, where we need it. You know, there's certain centre backs and there's certain this and that. You know, you're looking at Barcelona and you're looking at Real Madrid, and then you look at Atletico. But this guy just stands out. Especially for that central midfield linchpin that we've lacked for over a decade. I watched Thomas Partey and I was just like, he would fit into the Premier League seamlessly. Can he put his foot in? Yes, he can. Is he strong? Yes, he is. Is he tough? Yes, he is. Does he have the energy? Yes, he does. Can he get forward and set people up? Yes. Can he score goals from outside the box? Yes. Can he get in the box and score goals? Yes. Can he protect his back four? Yes. But I think to myself, I thought, you know, we would never be able to get him, because a team like Atletico would never let this guy go. But little did I know, his clause was 45 million, or 50 million euro, but 45 million pounds. And I'm not lying to you. I think we've put the mask on and we've gone over there and we've nicked him for 45 million pounds. I think we've nicked him, because we haven't got a midfielder like him at the club. That's the big telltale sign for me. Yeah. He is like don't want to put too much pressure on that part of it, but he is like having a reincarnation of Patrick Vieira in the middle of the pitch for Arsenal.
Stop. I can't take it. I can't take it. Please. That's too much for a girl to take on a Friday. Patrick Vieira, the reincarnation of Patrick Vieira is the dream of all dreams for any Arsenal fan. Now, Ben, we're going to come to you, and hopefully you're doing all right over there. I think Simeone has sabotaged your internet connection personally. I think that's what's happened. He's not very happy with us right now. Tell us about that deal, because the reports are, and you're on the ground over there in Spain, the reports are that he was seething about this transfer. And obviously the way in which transfers happen with La Liga, you deal directly with the league, and if you meet the clause, then, you know, game on. How true is it that Simeone is seething about this, and what effect has that had for Atleti with Thomas's departure? Damn, who knew it? Who knew it would be so tough? Sorry, go on. We finally got you.
I don't know if you can hear me now, because the connection is a little bit strange. But yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
Simeone said the weekend at the weekend when Atletico played on, I think they played on the Saturday, and Simeone said, "I hope there are no surprises before the transfer window closes." And I guess it was referring to Thomas, and there were a couple of players who had the possibility to leave. And it's undoubtedly disappointing, even though they've got Torreira on, even though they have a month to be able to bring in a replacement, actually. So there's talk now of Atletico signing Jeffrey Kondogbia from Valencia. They have signed a replacement. And Kondogbia is a good player in a similar kind of mould, but not at the same level as Thomas. So I think it's very disappointing for Atletico. But I think there's also a situation they've got themselves in, because he was one of the highest paid players in, that made him think about it. And of course, he had a very low release clause that you mentioned. Crazy, really, if you think about it, to get a player like that for 50 million euros, 45 million pounds, really from Atletico, they should have given him better terms a long time ago, a higher loss, but it's worked out in Arsenal's favour, and as these things do. And by the way, Arsenal have a huge following in most
Ghana.
of Africa, but especially in Ghana. So I can definitely understand, his desire to move there. People in his homeland are definitely very excited as well by it. But it's a blunder by Atletico. And when, of course, they came to renewing, to negotiating a new contract, then COVID-19 came. Didn't really have to be able to do it. So yes, well, in Arsenal's favour way.
It's amazing how this has worked in our favour. Usually these things really do work against us, but for once it's gone for us. We've asked this question to everyone, Ben, who's joined us since we've signed Thomas Partey. How much of a difference is he the difference between finishing in the top 6 and the top 4 and maybe getting to a Europa League final? What level of impact is his signing to an Arteta team that already started evolving, and he's definitely made some lemonade out of some lemons with our defense especially. But now with Gabriel re-signing Saka and Oba, and you've got Thomas, and then you've got Ceballos coming back on loan again. Where does this elevate Arsenal to?
Sorry, that cut off a little bit there, but I think Thomas is a guy who could play for. He's a guy who could play for anyone. I remember one game in particular, the Madrid derby last season. It finished 0-0, but after the game, everybody was talking about Thomas. He was the standout player from both teams. And you know, I think genuinely he's good enough to play for any team. You know, obviously different teams have different styles. You might not fit in necessarily in the same way at somewhere like Barcelona, but you know, other than that, I think he has the quality to be able to play for anyone. So you know, Arsenal got there, and yeah, I think
I cut off a little bit. I cut off a little bit, but the question you didn't hear the rest of the question. It was where his impact. Where does it put us? Where does it place us? Does it get us to does it win us the Europa League? Do we get top 4? Is the difference between him signing, finishing 6th and 4th, that type of impact signing?
Where does it place you? I mean, I think Arsenal.
No, it's all hypothetical, Ben. Don't worry.
Came up anyway.
Man, it's tough.
It's a bit.
Damn it! I can't believe this. Arrgh!
So, Sophie, let me just tell you this. In that Madrid derby, where Thomas Partey dominated the midfield, in the midfield was Modric, was Cruz, was Casemiro for Real Madrid. And Thomas Partey dominated the midfield. That tells you the level of this guy. That really tells you the level that this guy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a special player. And we're lucky to have him, I'm telling you. Because there ain't a lot of players like this guy out there. There aren't. Trust me. We're in good hands here. We're in good hands.
How is it he escaped? I'm just asking Ben. Great tip there from our. This is what I love about our listeners, because they were excited to hear Ben's thoughts as much as we were. So I'm just asking him to see if he can connect through audio only and not video to see if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But why he's kind of like one of those players where. How is it nobody signed him? I mean, obviously he signed a contract. When was it? An extension to his contract, a couple years ago. And
yeah, but here's the thing, you see, Sophie. This is the great thing about these so-called clubs. You have a player like that playing in your midfield. You don't want to upgrade him that much, but you upgrade him a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And he start playing and people start watching him and nothing's being done because he's at Atletico and they know Atletico can be difficult to deal with at times. But all the time his level's moving up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't sign him on that big contract, you run the risk.
Right.
You run that risk, and it's a risk. It's either you're willing to take it or you're not willing to take it. The fact of the matter is, Atletico didn't take the risk to sign him. Mm-hmm. They weren't positive enough to sign him. They know what type of player they've got, but they thought, well, we can wait. He doesn't want to go nowhere. But what tends to happen is other people covet your best players. So you can imagine when Arteta heard what he's on and what they can get him for us, this should have been done at the start of the summer. You know, as soon as we could assign somebody, this should have been done. But the fact of the matter is, they were playing a game because obviously Torreira was the bargaining chip, and they were going to see if they could get that price down even further. But they couldn't do it. So what did they do? They signed him, went straight to La Liga, got that lodged, and then they give them a little gift of Torreira. There you go.
So, yeah, because that was one of the biggest things, right, where Arsenal fans were talking about why did we wait till the 11th hour? And then everyone goes into that stupid kind of mold of, well, not every Arsenal fan, of it's you know, us panicking. Why didn't we do this earlier? Ben, I don't know if you can you hear us?
He's muted, isn't he? He's muted, I think.
Unmute yourself if you can. We're going to give this one last shot here. Okay. Let's hear you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Miracle. We're 40 minutes in. We're gonna we've got another 10 minutes or so here, but tell us, you were in the middle of telling us, because Kevin was just talking about the other talent at Atletico getting into the team, dominating other talent. And I think the biggest thing for Arsenal fans is to know we're striving for top 4. I think everyone knows that maybe this isn't the year we're going to win the Premier League, but the way the Premier League has started, there are a lot of Arsenal fans that are also saying, heck, why not? Arteta's definitely the type of manager that takes it game by game by game. Does Thomas Partey get us to a Europa League victory? Does he get us back to Champions League football? We saw Liverpool be changed and evolved in their jigsaw puzzle with 2 players in Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. Talk to us about the impact that Thomas could have when it comes to Arsenal actually being super competitive and maybe winning a major trophy again. Right, that's it. Diego Simeone ruined it for everyone. Sabotage, Casey. Absolute sabotage.
It is sabotage. It is. It's got to be.
It's got to be.
It's got to be sabotage.
I mean, I think personally, we'll try and get Ben back on the show at another point, but at some point, it's like, it's Friday night, you're at the bar, you've bought the girl a couple drinks. She's giving you signs, you're chit-chatting a little bit, Casey, buy her a few more drinks, but then eventually you get that hint that, you know what, this isn't going to happen. So you've got to move on, got to move down the line at the bar.
Listen, after the first few drinks, if I don't see the sign, I'm gone, baby, I'm gone. It's party time, remember, it's party time. So, you know what, if a girl's not going to party, hey, listen.
That's cool.
I'll move on. But I can answer that question, what I think.
Yeah.
Regarding Thomas Partey, what difference can he make? I think he can make all the difference, Sophie. I really think he can make all the difference. For me, I am a lot more confident of getting that top 4. I'm a lot more confident getting that top 4, Sophie. A lot more confident. And to be honest with you, we have to win the Europa League this season. We have to. There's no looking away elsewhere. We have to win that trophy. This is our 3rd or 4th season in it. 3rd season is it. We've got to win that. No, 4th season it is, or whatever. We've got to win it.
We have to listen. It's all happening now. The dogs are barking. They're
agreeing. They're agreeing with me. Woof woof. Where? Woof. Woof. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think we have to erase number one, the Chelsea final seemed like the moment that was completely lost. Maybe wrong manager, wrong time. Chelsea, Hazard, their team that year was still super solid. But it felt like, wow, we let all of the things kind of get to us. There was the Mkhitaryan situation as well. There was a lot surrounding that final that it just didn't seem like it was going to be our night. I was there.
We weren't good enough, Sophie.
No, we weren't. We weren't good enough.
If we're really honest, Sophie, we could have qualified in the league. With 8 games to go, we could have qualified in the league. What happened? Crystal Palace done us up at the Emirates, and then you remember Xhaka gave away a last-minute or a penalty late on against Brighton.
Yeah,
we win that. We would have qualified for the Champions League, but that shows you we ain't ready. We weren't ready.
But that's the difference.
We're ready now.
Isn't that the difference between having a Thomas Partey signing, a Gabriel signing, a Tierney signing? Let's not forget him to be able to kind of really kind of, push on. And I know Tierney was part of the team. He's been part of the team longer, but at the same time, we really did have a shot to qualify for the Champions League. We really did. And we blew it. We absolutely did blow it. And
on 2 occasions. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we go back to the Europa League, I was at the Olympiacos game, and Arteta was the man in charge at that time, but he'd been in the job. That game was at the end of February. It was just before the last home game against West Ham before COVID really
wasn't
hit.
It was just weeks. He was in weeks, yeah.
He hadn't really had a lot of time with the team, but we were schooled almost in that second half by Olympiacos. And now when you see the evolution of the team with him having more time to spend with the players, understand the talent that he has, the way he was able to kind of bring us back to Project Restart, take us to another FA Cup final, win it, beat City along the way, beat Liverpool twice, beat Chelsea in the final. I mean, these are all markers that fans should look at for progression. And then when you're a player in a team, Casey, I mean, you played in one of the most incredible games of your life, which was Survival Sunday. You know, you get to certain points and you start believing in things that maybe you didn't think were possible before. West Brom would never have won that game if the players didn't believe that they could get out of it, even on the last day. And I think mentally, as much as physically, tactically, football thinking wise, he's really, truly evolved this team.
Well, let me let you into a little bit of the psyche of the dressing room. Because, you know, when you're playing against other big teams and you don't beat them, Sophie, of course it plays on your mind when you can't get over the line. You know, Manchester City beat us in the final, slapped us at the Emirates, slapped us in restart. You know, those things go with you. They don't move away from you. They stick on you. They're like a backpack. So, you know, the manager now has to try and change your thought pattern. He has to try and refocus you and say you can beat them. And this is the way how we beat them. And then as a player, you've got to go out there and execute it. So the fact of the matter is that the players had this turnaround. They had to turn that Titanic around. There's an iceberg that way. You've got to go the other way. And that's what he done. He turned it around and, you know, the players believed in it and they got the right result. Had to defend for long spells, of course. We know how good City are. But got over the line, and once you get over the line, that's where the belief comes. Then you play a Liverpool and then you beat Liverpool. And then you go to the final against Chelsea. You go a goal down and then you beat Chelsea. So all of a sudden, this reinforcement is key. The manager's word is kept being reinforced over and over with performances, with results, and with silverware, Sophie. And once you win silverware, you know you're on the right track. You know.
100%. I think him winning that FA Cup final, not only for him as a manager, right, but for these players to actually then see, holy shit, you know, everything he's told us all along over the last few weeks, months, has come to fruition. That belief, that you can't substitute that for anything. And I really also believe that, yes, the Community Shield isn't as a major trophy, but it's still a trophy that you have to play at the beginning of the season. FA Cup winners play the champions, and we've won it. We even won that when under the Wenger 3 FA Cups as well. And Arteta has learned from that too. So for him to be able to win 2 finals against 2 teams, right, that have dominated. Chelsea were dominant under the John Terry, Frank Lampard, Drogba years, even when Hazard came. And then to do it to Liverpool, the supposed best team we've ever seen, right? I think Liverpool, and I think Klopp, in order to really get that label, he's got to win a few of the domestic cups. It's important for him, man. Those the Sir Alex Ferguson team, they won the.
They've got to clean up. They've got to clean up.
They do, and so for Arteta to beat his ex-boss, to go to Wembley to win a trophy, the monkey already off his back. He doesn't have to sit with when's he going to win a trophy. Look what happened to Pochettino. He transformed Tottenham, but that is out the window now. People forget what he did and the kind of football he brought to Tottenham Hotspur. Frank Lampard's got that now. You know, I mean, his survival is under a whole other different type of stress, right? So for Arteta to be able to start his Arsenal managerial career in that manner is incredible.
And with lesser players as well. We
100%.
have to be real here, Sophie. You know, if Arsenal had the squad Chelsea do, imagine what Arteta could do. But he doesn't. We've had players who were falling out with fans, falling out with the football club. There was unrest in the dressing room, and he's come in and he's garnered virtually everybody. Not everybody's on board, but he's garnered virtually everybody. There seems to be a real togetherness within that squad, and we have to give credit. Mikel Arteta has been at the club now, hasn't even been at the club a calendar year.
No,
but he's won a trophy, and he's won the opening of the domestic in the Community Shield, and he's beaten some of the biggest teams around a few times, a couple of times, whereas before that really never happened. We were used to wait. But you know, even at Anfield the other day, we didn't play well first half, but at least we showed ourselves. We could have maybe nicked a point. Whereas normally at Anfield, that never happens. That hasn't happened for years.
right.
So I see the progress. You start sticking a Thomas Partey in the midfield, all of a sudden we're a different animal. Because what you do at Anfield, you fight for that midfield supremacy. Because they press you so much that you need a midfielder who can, one, either beat the press by a pass or beat the press by a bit of ability. And Thomas Partey can do both. So once you can beat the press, then they're under stress. And then they think, well, do you know what? We're not going to go and press so much because this guy keeps beating us. So then they have to respect you a little bit more. And that's how, you know, you wrestle that midfield away from the bigger clubs, but the big teams. But it's listen, it's really amazing what Arteta's done. I'm telling you, it really is.
Let me ask you this, Casey. We've got another 8 minutes here together, and seeing as I have you, I'm going to ask you.
Should we get some of the questions? Yeah,
quick fire questions. One of the things that came in was, does it worry you that Aston Villa were able to beat Liverpool 7-2 in the manner in which they did, and we struggled, whether it's at Anfield or not?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Well, look, you see, first game of the season, you see Leeds go to Anfield and score 3 goals. Liverpool got a bit lucky at certain times, but they ended up winning the game. Liverpool. Listen, it's always easier being the chaser. But now that Liverpool have got that target on their back, they are going to get the best of everyone. Everyone wants to beat the champions. Everybody raises their game. Normally, everybody raises their game for the big teams anyway. But when you're the champion, everybody wants to take you on because you're the champion. So everybody wants that kudos. We beat the champions. Now, it was a bit of a bad day at the office. And you have to give Dean Smith some credit that they game planned for Liverpool to hit them where the fullbacks go high. That's where we're going to exploit it. But we've got to be smart how we exploit it. And if we're honest, they did. Ollie Watkins done a great job. You know, his first goals, hat-trick in the Premier League. His first 3 goals in the Prem. Fantastic for him. But, you know, with Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley, if we're honest, it could have been more, Sophie. It could have been more.
It wasn't a joke when people were saying that they could have scored 10. They really could have. And I think it shows you, and one of the things that Arsenal fans have been concerned about was the goalkeeping situation. But I think, you know, we all have to have faith. Leno's a good goalkeeper. Obviously, no one wanted to lose Emi, but my goodness, if they are without Alisson for like 6 weeks, which is what was reported, that's problematic for them. He is immense. He's not only immense for them when it comes to positionally, crosses, shot stopping. It's the way they play out the back. And I think that was the concern that a lot of Arsenal fans had with Leno is he as good playing the ball out the back as Emi? And maybe it's not his strongest suit, KC, but I think you see that Liverpool, with some injuries still, I know they've got Thiago, and we'll see how that works out. I'm sure it'll work out just fine, but it's not. We're fourth right now. We've got 9 points. We've got, when we come back from international football, we've got Manchester City. Then we play Rapid Vienna. We've got Leicester, and then another Europa League game at the end of the month. And then, of course, a big game comes at the beginning of November against Manchester United. So I think for me, I'm just hoping everyone comes back healthy from COVID, no injuries after this international break. But one of the other questions that came in was this, and we're not going to talk about Ozil and stuff, but the players that maybe didn't make the squad, the players that are left behind, the ones that we really wanted to get rid of. You know, Arteta's building such a great team spirit right now. I don't see Arteta letting any of that affect this team. Do you?
No chance.
I don't.
No chance. Look, everyone is on board, and everyone is locked in to what Mikel Arteta's telling them and how he wants to play. Now, the ones that are on the periphery or not in the squad, they're there for a reason. And some of the reasons are they're not quite up to it, they're not good enough, or it's poor recruitment why they're there in the first place, and we can't get them out, Sophie. That's some of the problem. They're on such a good contract that some of these guys are not going to take pay cuts to go elsewhere to play football. And listen, it's their prerogative, but you know, if you're on 100 grand a week and you can get 85 somewhere else, you know, you go to try and play football and make it up with bonuses or whatever. But some of these guys don't want to do that because they're on such a great, and Arsenal's such a great club. So, you know, they're going to hang around. But obviously, Mikel Arteta will have to deal with some of these guys at some stage, hopefully in January.
When you kind of see us coming back, and I think I want to know right now, if you were picking the team today, and I can't remember if it was Tashi or someone else in chat asked as well, what is your 11? What does it look like? We come back from international break, back to business in the Premier League. What does KC's 11 look like?
My 11 is obviously Leno in goal, Bellerin right back, David Luiz, Gabriel, Tierney left back, Thomas Partey in midfield with Granit Xhaka. Let me rejig that. Thomas Partey in midfield with Ceballos. I'd play Willian as the 10. I'd play Pepe on the right hand side, Aubameyang on the left, and Lacazette up top. Pace, power, ability, and a defense who can defend.
What happens to El Neni now? Good question from Mike. I think, you know, now he evolves into, he's definitely a player that Arteta likes, isn't he, KC?
Oh, 100%. And what El Neni is a good go-to backup guy, because remember, there's a lot of games coming. These Europa League games, El Neni could feature. And if there's any injuries, Arteta knows he can trust El Neni to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
El Neni could play beside Thomas Partey, for instance. No danger, because that is kind of what Partey's used to at Atlético Madrid. He's used to a workman-like player with him in midfield, and he can do all his stuff. He's passing, he breaks things up, he's driving up the pitch, etc. He can do that, but he's got somebody we can trust beside him. Okay, El Neni could do that.
Okay, so Elbatch wants to know from UKC, how important do you think next year's transfer window will be with so much money coming off the wage bill, and where would you strengthen? Now, there's a few people piling into chat right now, so that we're taking advantage of UKC. You good for a few minutes?
Yeah. I'm good for a few minutes. I think this transfer window was the most important, and we've got the linchpin who we missed. So moving forward, I think between now and the end of January, end of the season, we have to get that defense right. If we get the defense right, then it's the cream players, the quality players, the ORs and these guys at the top end of the pitch. Because no disrespect to anybody at the top apart from Aubameyang, nobody is safe. Let me tell you, nobody is safe. And if you could get OR, he's got to play.
I think Tierney's safe when he's fit.
No. I'm not talking about defense. I'm talking about
attack, offensive.
I'm talking about attacking wise. Yeah. Offensive. I don't think anybody's safe up there, bar Aubameyang.
Agree. So, wouldn't you always, when fit though? I would for now. This is a polarizing situation.
But we weren't talking about now. We're talking about summer.
Summer, okay. But let me switch it to now. Do you start Laka over Eddie all the time? Yeah. That's an easy one, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, we have another one here. Anytime in the near future, will Partey look back and see Gabriel Leno and forward and see Willian Oba?
Well, yeah, we got to pick the pieces out of that one.
Yeah,
anytime in the near future. I think what he means is, he's looking at the spine, isn't he? That means to me he's looking at the spine. He's looking at Leno in goal, Gabriel at centre back, and he's looking forward, and he's seeing a Willian or Pepe or whatever as a 10. Hey, listen, I think that's a strong spine, but we need a Aubameyang through the middle, or obviously from the left. That adds to that spine. I think you can't ever have enough good players, and at the end of the day, these guys are good players. And Partey would like to be involved with good players.
Yeah, it seems to me. And you know who else that we've kind of forgotten about because he's injured is Martinelli.
Oh, I haven't forgotten about him. But
I know you haven't.
No, I don't think we have forgotten about him because he made such an impact, Sophie, didn't he? As a young player coming in, and that goal against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, where he's run the length of the pitch and finished it superbly. It was amazing what he done. But we've got to be honest. We've got to give him time because he's a young man, and when you have these knee injuries, all sorts of different things could go wrong, and he could have niggles here and there. So I know he's young, I know he's sprightly, but I'd rather give him a little bit of time.
Okay, one more here from Mike. Do you believe Willian can play in a 3-man midfield as an attacking 8?
Of course, 100% he can. That's another permutation where Partey sits at the base as a so-called 6. You've got Willian as the 8, and you've got Ceballos as the 10 or whatever. So it's 1 and 2 attacking midfielders. And then you've got your 3 up top. Yep, no danger William could play that because he's got the legs to do it.
Amazing. Well, look, I mean, I think that there's a lot to be, Josh Kroenke told us a little while ago, be excited, right? And I'm asking someone here, I'm asking UKC, like, when you see our squad, we've got depth, right? And when you see some of the younger players coming through as well that are going to feature in the League Cup, the early stages of the FA Cup. We've got these early games in Europa League. I think, I feel confident that we'll come out of our group in Europa League as well. There are definitely some struggles for other squads. I just don't think Manchester City are going to be as dominant as they have been. And we've seen their regression from last season. Liverpool will be challenged because exactly the reasons you said. When you're the champions, you're a target now. Manchester United look like completely a shadow of the club that we've known them to be, and I think they'll continue to be under Ole. Spurs have strengthened, and you can never underestimate Mourinho, but Mourinho is also a different manager these days too. So there's no reason why we can't believe a little bit more this season when you look at the talent that we have in the squad. But more importantly, the difference is the man who's managing the talent in the squad.
Yeah. I do you know what, Sophie? I think a huge game for Arsenal is this Man City game. Thomas Partey, seeing how Thomas Partey plays against Manchester City and how we approach the game. I think that's going to be really big for us, because you know what? If we can go there and perform, I think we could beat them. I really do. They don't convince me one bit, Manchester City, anymore. You know, they've had the times where they've been dominant. They've lost a lot of key players. I mean, linchpin players. You know, your Vincent Kompany's and your David Silvers. These are linchpin players, and they're not there no more. So you've got players who are playing now to try and prove themselves. I think we could get a march on them. I think we could beat them. So if we can get something, or we can beat them, you know, it would be what a shot in the arm that would be for all us Gooners. You know, to be able to say, right, now we're a team. Now we can go to places and hold our own, like at the Etihad.
Yep, and I think Mikey B 400 here says it well. It's a statement game. Winning that is an absolute statement game, and that would be massive for us. Right, we apologize for the technical glitch. FIFA boy Darren, we're always here for you. You got some love from Amy Lawrence and Lee Dixon today too, and Super Kev on Twitter. We're always here, as is everyone in this chat as well. We're a little family here at the Highbury squad, and we're really, really appreciating all of the new subscribers, and the shows that we're putting out are resonating with people. And we just want to say, like, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. We like to put out conversational content. We love getting your questions. You hit us up anytime. We'll probably be back for a live show Monday. If Super Kev and I, if anything happens over the weekend, we'll always be on deck for a show. But might be Monday that we're back, and we'll be back with a bang as per usual. And Super Kev, thank you so much for everything this week. If you missed Kev Says, go to the YouTube channel right now and check it out. We're going to be putting out shorter little vignettes as well. The three of us doing a variety of different things. And Kev especially giving his feedback before and after games as well in our Kev Says segment too. So please share, please like. I'm doing something I said that we don't usually do, but I'm going to do it now, Casey. Why not, right?
Why not do it? Why not do it? Go on.
I'll give you the last word, because we know what that always is.
Listen, the last word is always the Gunners, always Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.